If I'm an organization, if I'm running an organization, what is my role in creating a more inclusive and inviting
Mm-hmm.
culture that promotes women and celebrates women,
Mm-hmm.
and basically,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you're pointing out a very important point. Women leaders tend to produce better results for an organization. It's proven, but still, it's so damn hard for many businesses to bring them on board because their
Mm-hmm.
culture is not built to embrace. And when your leadership is missing out on that, I think top dollars, it's a big problem. So what are some of
Yes.
the thoughts, some of the ideas that you have for, say, some leaders or
Mm-hmm.
organizations, what they can do?
So if you look around at the who's on your executive team, for example, and your executive team is not diverse, then you have to start there because it does come from the top. It starts at the top. And if there's a commitment from the CEO first, and then a commitment from the whole executive team, that is super important. And, the thing is, nobody relinquishes power,
Hmm.
uh, voluntarily. And so it's important not to have people think that they're going to be pushed out of the leadership. But maybe you can make room on a leadership team for a couple more people. Maybe you can do that. And maybe you can also start mentoring and sponsoring women within the organization. And over the course of a few years, as there are openings, you can have them prepared then to take on those higher leadership roles. You can also give women opportunities to, say, for example, make a presentation
Hmm.
about a project and make sure that women's voices are being heard when projects come up. Do they get a chance to be the leaders of the project? And equally importantly, do they get a chance to present that project to the leadership team when that time comes? And do they, if you have women on your leadership team, and women are now almost 50-50 of that mid-management level.
Hmm.
So there are plenty of women who are ready to be nurtured and mentored and brought up into the higher ranking level. So maybe there are projects that
Hmm.
you can identify opportunities for women to take on. Maybe when when you ask women what's the one thing men can do to help them, you know what one word they usually say?
What?
Listen. Listen.
Fair point.
so yeah, so it's and that's something that I think that's an easy thing for men to learn to do, but you have to recognize that because women have not been the ones in power, they step back and don't necessarily make their voices heard as much as men do. So, just take a pause and listen. And that really helps a lot. And if there's one thing that women say over and over and over again,
Hmm.
it's that, I was in a meeting, I gave an idea, nobody responded. A man gave the same idea 5 minutes later, and everybody thought it was great. What do I do?
Hmm.
And so, one thing that men can do is pay attention to that. And if a woman has actually offered an idea you think it's a good one, support it. And if somebody else says that same thing, say, that's what Mary said just 10 minutes ago. I agree with her. I can see that you do too. So there are little things, sometimes it's the little things that you can do that make all the difference for people. And it's just like, this is the same thing with, I think men and women have the same needs, right?
Right.
To be seen, to be heard, to be recognized, to have an opportunity to use their talents, right?
And I'm curious. So if say you're a, say, any woman leader who's listening to this or watching this, and she's feeling she is not heard in an organization, she's stuck, or the culture doesn't create room for a woman leader. Like what are some of the things you would recommend or you would suggest to those
Mm-hmm.
wannabe leaders who have the capability but just
Mm-hmm.
cannot get through this thick layer of culture which is not designed to appreciate diversity or inclusivity.
I believe the world turns on human connections. Relationships are everything. And whereas, again, this is a socialization difference, it's not hardwired, but boys play team sports from a very early age, and they learn to support each other. Sometimes they fight it out, but they still are friends and they support each other. And girls are more often now doing that, but still not as much as boys do. And that's a very important skill to build a network, and to build relationships. So one of the things that I suggest that women do, and of course it works for men too, but I really suggest that they create what I call a power map. And on their power map, they're identifying who has the most power about their career, who has the most power, or the person most likely to be able to help them achieve the promotion they want or move up in the organization. And you put that person in the middle of your power map. And then you make other circles on your paper and you put yourself, where are you in relation to that person? Do you directly report to him or her? Are you 3 steps away? Who has that person's ear? Who are the people in the organization who that person listens to and trusts their advice? Who should you be making sure that you've had coffee with? Who should you be sure that they know who you are and they know what you do and what you can bring? And so you're nurturing, you figure out where are the relationships on your map that you should spend the time to cultivate. And once you've done that, it's more likely that somebody's in a meeting and they're talking about, we need to fill this position. Well, it's going to be much more likely that your name will be mentioned. And then once your name is mentioned, somebody will reach out to you. Also, don't expect people to tap you on the shoulder if they don't know you want to move up. You need to let your supervisor know what your career goals are and ask for their help in making a plan to prepare you for that. So it's all, all of it really is communication and relationship building. And they say the single greatest predictor of what will happen to any of us in life is who we're sitting next to, who we know. That's the single greatest predictor. So the more you can get to know people, make sure everybody from top to bottom in the organization knows who you are, the more likely you will have opportunities.